Hello and welcome to the channel. Welcome to the third part of this series. This is where we left up in the previous part, and today we're going to continue from here. Before we start, someone made a comment in the video in the channel. He said, "Thank you very much for these two videos. However, this shop does not work with variable product, and the product images never changes according to the variation. It's a pity." So well, it's a pity he couldn't get it to work, because it actually does work. So if I select this variation, okay, and you know it changes if you set it up properly. So I'm going to show you how to set this up for the variation for the pictures to change according to the variations you choose. So what you do is just go into the product setting. For each product that is a variable product, you will have to set the variation images. So you go to the variation, so you have your variations that you've already set up, and then you're just gonna open that variation and place the image here. You're gonna choose. So if I take that image out, this is what you're gonna see. So you have to go in and then select the image that you want to have there, and once you do that, once you place all your images, you save it here, okay, and probably update your product, and then go back to the front end. So once you do that, if you select the variation, the corresponding image for that variation is going to appear. So it does work. There is no bug, as was suggested. There is no bug. It's just that if you do the things you're supposed to do correctly, you're not going to have any bug. And another thing is, all these elements have to be inside the product builder. All of this, like from here, all of this. So if you take any of them out of the product builder, some people put only this picture in the product builder because they think this is the only thing that matters, but it's not the only thing that matters, okay? So every other thing does, especially the add to cart button also matters. You have to put it inside the product builder. Personally, I would advise you to just drop everything inside the product builder, okay? All right, so on to what we're going to do next. In this part, we're going to take a look at how to create this cart icon with the cart counter, the cart total, and also the off canvas, okay? And then we're also going to take a look at how to customize our cart page to look like this. As we all know, the default Oxygen cart page doesn't look like this, okay? So we're going to just add some CSS to bring it to this, as well as the little CSS to make these two columns. The default layout is just one long column, okay? So having it two columns here where you can see your order here, and then you have these billing details. As you can notice, it's shorter than the normal one. So I use the plugin to edit those fields and move the email up, the phone number before the names, and then remove some other fields I don't want here, okay? All right, so let's jump into starting. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is to go to the main template, which has a header. So I have my main template open here, okay? Of course, this is my sample page previewing in the main template, so just ignore this. So the first thing we're going to do is to go into the header and add our the counter, okay? So first of all, I want to take out some of this element. By the way, this is an element, a header element from from the Oxymate header library, design set, okay? So it came with all this. So I'm going to take out what I do not need. So I don't need this search icon. So let me see, what do we have here? So we have this icon. Which one is that? Can't seem to. Okay, so let's select this. All right, so this is this div, and then we have the search. I'm going to take out that search. I don't need that, okay? And then I'm going to take out this one, okay? I don't need that either. So I just want to have maybe this and this, okay? These two. All right, let's see our reference site, just two of that. Okay, what I want to do with this one is that I'm going to wrap it with, okay, I'm not going to wrap it with a div since it's already inside a link wrapper, okay? Because I want everything here to be like a link, okay? All right, I want everything here to be like a link. So actually we're going to use this, as, a trigger for this off canvas. So you don't want it to be a link. All right, so I'm going to wrap this icon with a div, okay, and then I'm going to move it out, all right, of that link wrapper and delete that link wrapper. So I have that icon in a div. All right, so the next thing I want to do is to add the counter, okay, this counter. So that is going to be a code block. All right, so I'm going to drop in a code block. All right, so we have our code block there, and it's written hello world. So I'm just going to go, pick the code that we're supposed to use, and then I'm going to drop it in the PHP section and hit apply. And then I'm going to give it a class of cart counter. So I already have that class here, but you will not have it in your own install. So just type cart counter and add that class. Okay, we probably need to style it, with some CSS. Let's see how it goes. All right, I'm going to collapse this. So what we have here, see, it's showing 0 here. So that means there's nothing in the shopping cart. All right, let's go ahead and style this stuff. Okay, so what I'm going to style, I'm just going to style it from the ID. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to go into size and spacing, okay, and set the width to 20 pixel and the height to 20 pixel. And then for the typography, I'm going to go ahead and set the font to 10. All right, so you can see the font is 10. I'm going to set it to text align to center. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a background color. And then let's see, I'm going to give it a background color. So I'm just going to give it the background color using my utility classes to give it a background color. I want it to be my tertiary this color. So I could just, alternatively, I could just copy it and go to the background, just paste that. So I have that background color. I would like the text to be white. Okay, so I'll just, now you see it's not responding, okay, to that. So even if I change the text to be white, it's not responding. So we're going to use the CSS, okay, using this class that we gave it, this cart counter, to target, that text. The reason it is not changing is because the HTML markup for this 0 you're seeing here is not a text, it's not a paragraph, it's a link actually. So this actually links back to the cards. Okay, so if I go to the style sheet, okay, and then add the CSS, let's go before I'm just gonna add it before the media query starts. All right, I think it's from here. Okay, I'm just gonna call this cart counter. All right, so the class of that element was cart. So I'm just gonna do dot cart dash counter a. So color white. So you can see it has changed to white. Okay, so for that we needed to use CSS for it. Okay, so let me quickly rename this to cart counter so I will see what I'm doing. Okay, so another thing I'm gonna do is to add radius to it. Okay, so border radius, I'm just gonna add an Oxymate class. Okay, border radius extra large should take care of that. And then we can see that this is it's not properly aligned, it's moving upwards. Okay, you could see that it's closer to the top. So I'm going to go back to the typography and set the line height to 2. Okay, and that corrects it. All right, so let's see. Okay, so it stacked vertically, and I don't want it to stack vertically, so I'm going to change it yeah, like that. Okay, and then another thing I want to do is to move it to slightly overlap this cart, okay, this shopping cart icon. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to select it, okay, and then I'm going to go to effect, okay, transform. I'm going to add a transformation which will be translate, okay, x and y. So I'm going to translate x negative 50%, so it moves it in a little bit, and then I'm going to translate y negative 50% also. All right, so it moves it slightly upward. So you could see that, let me just select something else. Okay. So you can see that that translate property moves it to, you know, overlap on top of that cart. And the next thing we're going to add inside this same div is we're going to add the, you know, the total cart price. Okay, so for that we're just going to use the WooCommerce cart total. Okay, so there is a cart total here, other elements. I'm going to drop that there. And then I'm going to change the price typography to 12, okay? And then maybe the color, I just want it to be something a bit light. So that should do. Okay. Perhaps I want it to be closer, okay? To make it closer, perhaps I should give it a negative margin, okay? To just draw it closer. So I'm just going to go here under size and spacing, and then I'm just going to give it a negative let's say negative 12 pixels. All right, so that pulls this in a little bit. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna save that, and so that's it. We've you know, we've done that. So let's see what happens at the front end. So I'm just gonna refresh the front end here to see. So let's test this. If I add this to cart, okay, so the price changes. So you can see the price changes to $25, and then this still remains 0. It hasn't updated. So if I refresh that, okay, it changes to 1. So we want this. So we want this to support AJAX functionality. We want it to have AJAX functionality because without that, it's not going to update, you know, real time. So we're going to go to the back end and enable a code snippet, okay, that adds AJAX support. So this code snippet, AJAX support for cart item count. So it's gonna, you know, add for the quantity. All right, it's gonna add that support for the quantity. All right, so I'm gonna save that, yeah, enable that rather, and then go back to the front end and see what will happen. So if I add to cart, you see it changes. Okay, and the price also updates. Like this was 25, now it's 28 because this is just $3. If I add the next $3, it's gonna, yeah, 31 and then 3. So what we want to do is to link this, you know, to the off canvas cart, and to do that, let's go back to the backend, and we're gonna install and activate a plugin. I've already installed that plugin to save time, and the name of the plugin is WPC Fly Cart for WooCommerce. I'm going to go ahead and activate it. It's still the same set of plugin by WP Clever. Okay, so I'm going to go into that Fly Cart and, you know, configure it. So I'm going to leave this the way it is, okay? And then for the manual show up button, now you say the class or the ID, when click to this button, the Fly Cart will be shown up. So it's saying that he just needs a trigger element. Okay, so I'm gonna just copy this .flycart button and paste there. Okay, and because that's what I'm gonna use, that's the class I'm gonna apply to my div to enable it to trigger. All right, so this remains, you know, the position, I want it to be right, so it could come out from the right. You know, do you want effects, sliding effects? Good, it's okay. Then the style, color background, no, I want background to be white. The color, yeah, let's just make it white. And then, you know, background image, you want to upload image. All these are, you know, just stuff. So all this will, you know, remain the way they are. Let's see. Action button, yeah. Cross cells, show, okay. Share card, show, empty card, hide. So you could show the empty card product button. If you want to show it, no problem. Just play around with these settings, okay? And then now one other thing is this. You know, you can always add this to your main navigation, okay? So, but the advantage of doing it like this is that you can place it anywhere you want. Now, if you add it to the main navigation, this is what will happen. So this is what happens. So it's just going to drop it, irrespective of the kind of navigation you have, it's going to drop it there. But we build this ourselves, so we can drop this at, you know, anywhere we want to drop it. But if you choose this option, you know, to add it at the end of a menu, it's just going to add it as the last menu item. So you don't have control over where you place it. That's why I'm not using this. Okay, now the icon, this is for bubble. Okay, so like, let's just leave it like this. I'm going to update this and go to the front end so you can see what the bubble means. So I'm going to go to the front end, and then of course you can see the bubble here. Okay, so this brings this out. Okay, it triggers it. But since we're already building our hours, you know, we don't need this bubble. But if you want to use this bubble, okay, the thing is this, you also can place this anywhere you want. There are just a preset of settings that you can use to place it. I don't even know if they have any settings for, you know, placement. Okay, so you have top right, top left, you know, bottom right, bottom left. So you have those three positions to, you know, drop this thing. And that's just it. You can't place it. You don't have the freedom. But that is why it is better to build it yourself, so you can drop it anywhere you want to. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and disable that because I don't want the bubble. Okay, so I'm going to update. So if I refresh, we're not going to have the bubble. But the problem now is we can't activate off canvas cart. Okay, now, so to do that, remember this class. So I'm going to copy that class without the dot, of course, and go into Oxygen, and this div is going to act as our trigger. So I'm just going to add that class to the div. All right, I'm going to save this. And another thing is I need this div to behave and to have a pointer. Okay, like to have the cursor, pointer cursor. So right now, if we refresh this, and because we've applied that class to it, if I click it, it still brings out, you know, the shopping cart, but it doesn't look like something you should click, you know. So I'm going to add the counter, sorry, not counter. I'm going to add the pointer, okay, cursor pointer class from Oxymate, which will automatically, you know, add that option. You could also do that by, you know, selecting this and going to custom CSS, and then you're going to write cursor pointer. Okay, so that will work the same way. Okay, but I'm just using a class because that class was available for me to use. So I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to refresh the front end to see how it looks. So let's refresh that, and okay, so it feels like something that needs to be clicked, and this is good. So if I go back to the single product page, everything still looks good. Add to cart, you know, and then this shows up. Okay, it says continue shopping, and I don't have my cart button. So let's go back here. I think let's see. Okay, so this is background and text color. Okay, so I can't set that to white, so that was the mistake I made. So I'm just gonna choose, you know, this color. All right, so I'm gonna choose that color, and then say okay, and then we'll go to the front end and refresh. That shows up. Okay, so that mistake was from us. Okay, the continue shopping, of course, you will have to set a URL for it. So if you want it to be your shop page, okay, you have to continue shopping URL. So you could just /shop, and then using that relative path should work. So if I update that, I say enter a URL. Okay, it wants to enter a valid URL. No problem. So that doesn't support relative URL. Okay, so I'm gonna refresh this. Go here, continue shopping. All right, it's not working. Okay, so I'd set my shopping page to home. So let's see if I take this shop out and update. Let's see what's going to happen. Okay, for some reason that continue shopping is not working. I'm not quite sure. I've set the URL, so and we're not going to waste time on that. Okay, so we could I'm just going to disable that option. Perhaps it's a bug, and I'm going to disable it. So we already have the close button. So if they want to continue shopping, they can always close it and go back to where they want. All right. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to build our cart page. So right now, if you check this and you go to the cart, you'll see the cart it's doesn't look that bad. Now, I did not show you how to build the cart page. Okay, so and that's very simple. There's really nothing to it. Okay, so I'm gonna go into the cart page. So what I'm going to do is go to the back end, then I'm going to go to pages. Okay, and then there are other pages, WooCommerce pages you have to build. This is the cart page, the checkout page, my account page, and all these are very straightforward. The order tracking, they are very straightforward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the cart page first and then click edit with Oxygen. Now I think we're done here. Okay, so I'm just going to close this. I don't want to have two Oxygen pages open so I don't overwrite my styles if I have to save. Okay, so we're done with this. If we need to come back here, we'll do that. And then okay, the cart page is open. So now I've already dropped something here. Okay, so normally what you're going to see in yours is this, nothing, empty. So you're first of all going to drop a section. Okay, and then just go to drop this cart. Okay, so WooCommerce page is just drop the shopping cart. That's all. All right, that is all you need to do and nothing else. Okay, and then of course you can start editing stuff like the headings. You could just change the font size to what you want, 18. Okay, frequently bought together, no option to change that here. Let's see if there are other options. Now for the table headers, you have these. So just take a look at this and edit what you need to edit here. Okay, so I'm not going to waste time editing everything. So the links, changing the size. So just change the size to suit what you want. Okay, and the frequently bought together. Remember, we changed this text using a code snippet. So this is not the default text that is usually there. All right, disable buttons. So okay, the prices, the links. All right, so you just set this up according to your preference. Okay, the settings here, and then you save it. Okay, so that is how you build a cart page. If you wanted to build the checkout page, you do the same thing. Instead of dropping the cart, you're gonna drop checkout. Okay, and this is how it's going to look. So by default, this is how the checkout page looks. Okay, and if you're going to do my account page, now I don't want to go into those pages and do them one after the other. This is how it is done. So you go into those pages and just drop. So you have WooCommerce pages, just drop my account, and that's basically it. Nothing else to be done. Okay, so that's basically it. And once you drop it, you go to the front end, everything should look good. Okay, so it's probably looking like this because we're on the wrong page, so that is it. And then for the tracking, okay, you do the same thing. Order tracking, of course, you can centralize stuff like that. So you can see this doesn't want to centralize. So to solve this problem, so you can see that it's actually centered, but the problem is that is wider than what it displays. So you just go into advanced size and spacing and set the width to auto. Okay, so you can see that width is now like that, and then you go in here and then hit centralize and it's going to centralize. So that's how you solve that particular issue if you run into it. Okay, so those are basically how you set up those WooCommerce pages. You just come in here, drop a section, and then write anything you want to write. Okay, so you could drop a heading. Okay, you could drop a heading, all right, on top here, and then yeah, maybe that is your H1. Just size it, you know, the way you want. Okay, depending on the size you want to give it, and margin and all that. And so you just use dynamic data, insert dynamic data, and choose the title of that that particular page. So it's gonna write the title. So you see it's cart. Okay, so because this we are on the cart page, so it's writing cart here. Okay, so let me remove this and then drop back that cart, shopping cart. So if you want to add shopping to the name, you could just double click like this and write shopping at the beginning. Okay, all right. How do you spell shopping? Anyway, just just write, or you could just write it normally. Since it's not a template, you could just write it out, shopping cart. Okay, you really don't need to use dynamic data for this. All right, so let's go back to the front end. Close this, leave page. Okay, so we have this this cart now. So we're going to style this cart. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just right click, and then I want to paste the CSS that is responsible for, you know, styling this cart. So I'm just going to drop in that CSS in our style sheet here in this user inspector style sheet. Okay, so what that CSS does is, let me remove that. So you can see it's, so these did not have any styling. So that CSS just styles a couple of things. You can see the difference, you know, in what it does. Okay, it adds a white border, you know, around here, a white background, and just brings everything the way it should be. Now we're gonna alter the layout. Okay, let me add let me comment this. So that's the cart page, and then we're gonna do for the layout. Okay, so the CSS for the cart page layout, I'm gonna copy it and paste there. All right, see the magic? So I'm gonna remove that. So you can see this hide was, okay, and when I paste that CSS, this is how it is. So there's a whole lot of things going on here. I'm not gonna go into the details of the CSS. I'm basically just, you know, making this to display flex, and then display them side by side, give this a minimum height, set the overflow to hidden and scroll, and then I, you know, use the scroll bar properties, you know, edit the scroll bar properties to make the scroll bar to be like this. If you haven't seen my video on the, you know, my YouTube channel, okay, where I show you how to get rid of, you know, ugly custom scroll bars in divs and content, and get rid of the ugly scroll bars. Okay, so you go ahead and watch that video, so you're gonna see how I did this. Okay, all right, so that is it for that. I'm gonna copy that, cut that CSS out, and take it into my style sheet. Okay, so good thing is I have the style sheet. I can edit my style sheet externally since I've already closed all my Oxygen, you know, builder editor pages. So I'm going to just go to that edit Oxygen style sheet. Okay, scroll all the way before the media query. Okay, so I'm gonna paste that and hit save. Once I do that, I'm gonna come back here, close this, and then I'm gonna refresh. By the way, if you want to know, if you want to have this feature where you can edit the style sheet outside of Oxygen, there's a code snippet by Matthias. Did I click on plugins? Snippet, that's what I wanted to click on. All right, so so this is it. you know, edit Oxygen style sheet outside Oxygen Builder. So you go to this website, altman.de, you know, you can just type Matthias Altman, you're gonna see it, and then even if you land on the homepage, just search for, you know, Oxygen style sheet, okay? And then you're gonna see it, and a bunch of other nice snippets, you know, very cool snippets. So check it out. All right, so we're done with that. Okay, so let's move on to the checkout. Okay, so proceed to checkout, and you see our checkout is one column here, and then we have just one, you know, one column, and then we have this one under. So to make it slicker, I want to make it just 2 pages. So 2 columns. So I'm just gonna paste. I'm gonna paste the CSS that's gonna do that. Okay. So I'm gonna right click, inspect, paste that. All right, and that does the magic. Okay. Not quite sure what this is. So I'm gonna just copy that out, you know, close this, and then I'm gonna go back to that style sheet editor. Please, if you're gonna be using this style sheet, this external style sheet editor, be careful you're not using it while your Oxygen editor is open, because if you're doing the changes here and then you when you finish and then you click save in the Oxygen editor, it's gonna save the version, you know, that was there and override this. So use it with care. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna paste that just before the media query. All right, by the way, let me comment this. These are all media queries. Okay. Let me save that. Then I'm going to take a look at the front end and refresh it. You done saving? Okay, refresh it to see. All right, so that's it. So we have our off canvas, we have our counter, we have our cart total, we have, you know, a checkout page. So everything looks good. Everything looks good. All right. All right. All right. All right. Okay. So what next? So one thing missing here is, if you come here, you're gonna see we have a search bar here. So if I search for iPhone, you're gonna see this result popping up, and that's because we're using a plugin. I'm not using the default Oxygen WordPress product search. Okay, so, and if you also come here, I think, okay, we don't have that search here because we already have a search. All right, so that's what we're using. So I'm going to go to the back end, okay, and then go to plugins. There's a plugin we're going to use for that, and that plugin is called Customised AJAX search for WooCommerce. I'm going to activate it, and just skip that. Once that is activated, you're just going to read this instruction. Okay, you can use the shortcode for this. Okay, use PHP echo do shortcode, or you just use a normal shortcode for it. But I think for this, okay, there's also a widget. So it says as a widget, go to the widget screen and choose Fibo search bar. So since it is a widget, that means we can also access the widget in the Oxygen editor. So let's go into the header and add that. Okay, so we're going to have to edit, go back to our primary template. Okay, so that's the main template that has the header. So let me open it from here. You could go all the way to Oxygen template, okay, and main template. So I'm going to edit it with Oxygen. Okay, so we are here in Oxygen. Okay, so we have our header, and we already have this is our header. Okay, All right, so what we're gonna do is all the spaces are already filled up, so there's no need to drop in the big search, bar in here. So I'm gonna drop it on that. To do that, I'm gonna create a new header row. So I'm gonna go to header and then just add another row. Okay, so we have another row under here, and then for this row, I don't want it to be this, this high. Okay, so I'm gonna change the height to say 50 pixel. Okay, and then I'm gonna drop in that search bar in the middle. Okay, so while this is selected, I'm gonna go to add, I'm gonna go to WordPress widget, and then here it is, Fibo search bar, because it has a widget, so we can actually drop it in there. And then I think I'm gonna make it 100% width. So to do that, I'm just gonna apply the full width class to it. Okay, let's move it to the center. All right, so it's at the center, and I want to give it a margin top. Probably it's too close to to the logo, so I'm just gonna give it a margin top. Let's just give it from here, size and spacing. I just give it 24 pixel of margin top. Okay, so how does this look? Now let's go back to that widget, and then I want this to be search bar only. Okay, search bar only, and then I'm gonna apply. All right, so I want that to be search bar. All right, let's save this and take a look at the front end. All right, this is the front end. Let's see how it looks. All right, so we have the header here. Just gonna call that Android, and yeah, the search results come out. Let's see how it looks on mobile. Okay. All right, that looks good. Looks cool. iOS. Okay, doesn't look bad at all. So okay, so I think that works. Now if you come here, you could look at all the settings that you have. Just take a look at this and play with it, do stuff with it. Shows different things that you want. There's so much settings here, that there's a preview here that shows you what it's going to be like if you add this, depending on what you want. Okay, maximum number of suggestion 3, so like I would like mine to be like 5 or 4, so depending, group results, so many things here you could set. Okay, so you come in here and just take a look at it and configure it to suit your taste. Okay, so that is it for the search bar. And let's say you go ahead and search for iPhone. The good thing about this is okay, so we have this our search template. We don't have a good search template, so see what the result that we have and how it looks. So we don't have a good search template, so we're going to set that up. Okay, so let me revert. But if you just search for iPhone and then it brings it out and you click, it takes you to the iPhone. But we're going to set up a search template that will have a better way to display our search results. Okay, so if I type LG, it just takes me to LG because there's only one LG. But if I type Android, to display all the Android, is going to come see how it displays. So it's not really looking good. Okay, so let's set up our search template. So we're going to go to the back end, and then I'm going to go to Oxygen. Okay, and template. All right, so we have a search result template. So now what I'm going to do, we want our search template to have the same, okay, let me open, want it to have the same layout as as our shop. Okay, so we want to have this layout load, okay, when the search result comes out. So so I'm going to first of all open the archive, the shop archive template. I'm just going to click here to open it in a new tab, and then I'm going to go to edit the search template. Also, I'm going to go to the shop archive, and then I'm going to copy all the shortcodes. I'm going to come back here, okay, to the search results, and then I'm going to paste that shortcode. Now that duplicates the the structure of the archive. I'm going to update that, and then we're going to go into Oxygen to edit it. Okay, so the search page is loaded. What you want to do is, the first thing is make sure you go into the repeater. Now this is very important, very important. If you just copy the shortcode and paste, okay, and then save in the WordPress backend, okay, and then it's not going to work. So you have to actually come in here, go to the repeater, and then apply this. Just click it to apply, and then you save this again. So let it finish doing its thing. All right, once that is done, you save it. So you actually have to come in here and do that for it to work. If you just copy the shortcode and paste it and then expect it to work, it's not going to work. Okay, you have to come in and do that and save it. Now when we go to the front end, I'm going to refresh that front end. So if I come in here and search for, let's say, iPhone, and click enter, so you see the result comes out. So the iPhone is there. Then you see I have the recently viewed under. So we'll have to do a little bit of editing, just make slight adjustment to the search template to make it different. For instance, I would like to have this recently viewed right under here. I don't want it to be up here, okay? And or rather, we could still have it up here. It doesn't matter, but we just arrange it separately. Maybe make it smaller, depending. And also would like to have some text that says here's your search results, and no result was found. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is take a look at the recently viewed. Now the search template, I noticed it has a weird behavior. It doesn't show the product, because it's a search template. It's not a product template, so it's going to show something, search page, and you're going to have this hello world and sample page. So just ignore it, okay? And you can see that this is not even showing up, this shortcode. Of course it doesn't show up even in the archive page. So what I want to do is to change the way this behaves. This was set to align to center. Let's see what layouts. So we have this repeater, okay, we have this recently viewed. Okay, so I think what controlled our recently viewed product was our CSS. Okay, that's why we have this class, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move it under here because of that. So let's see, this is this. Let's look at our structure. Okay, and then we have this. So I'm going to drop another div in this. Okay, something that will stay under this one. So I'm just going to go add a div. So that div comes here. I'm just going to move that recently viewed into that div. Okay. All right, so we have that under here instead of up there. And we're going to have another, let's see, here. Okay, let's see. We have a repeater here. We have a shortcode, search and filter. Okay, which is this side. Okay. So inside here, I think what I want to have is, I want to have two divs. All right, so I'm just going to drop two divs above that repeater. So I'm just going to go a div. All right. Let's move it above the repeater. And I'm going to call that no search result. I'm going to duplicate it. Okay, let's remove that. I don't want to. I will duplicate it after. And then I'm just going to drop a heading, or perhaps I'm going to make that say 32. Okay, this says no search result, so I'm going to say no results was found. Okay, all right, and I'm going to drop another. I'm just going to duplicate this heading. Okay, let's just duplicate it. I'm going to change that to something smaller. Make that 18. Okay, and I'm gonna say return to shop. And then I'm gonna select that shop. I want to link that shop to I'm just gonna link the whole thing. Okay, I could just link only the shop by going to span. Okay, and then so I have that as a span, and then I'm gonna just wrap that in a link wrapper and set it to the shop URL. Shop page. These things are not just looking good here, and I think I noticed this when I use Firefox. So I'm just gonna use relative URL. That place is. What is going on here? Why is my span? What really happened here? Let me delete the whole of that. Let me just add a text. Okay. Okay, I need to refresh this. It's getting buggy. Okay, so let me just save and refresh. Alright, I'm going to select that and say return okay. I want that to be just a little bit bolder, and then I'm going to wrap it with a link wrapper, and then just shop. So I'm going to link it to a shop. Okay. All right. So that links back to the shop. Okay. Now, but we need a condition, for this to show. So it should only show if there's no result. Okay. So I'm going to go to set a condition here, and then I'm going to add condition. I'm going to go to number of posts. So we're going to set this if number of posts is less than or is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, so that is the condition. So if the number of posts is greater than or equal to 1, just that will. No, that is wrong. So that should be if the number of posts is less than. Okay, less than, or let's say if it's equals to 0, let's just say so. If there's no post, okay. All right, let's try that and see. Okay, let's save this. I'm going to search for something that shouldn't be there, like food. Alright, so it says no result found. But if I search for phone, alright, so you see that doesn't show because we have two results here. And let me just go back. You notice that when no result was found, we still had this filter. Now, it really doesn't make sense. So I'm going to take off this filter, okay, because we just want this recently viewed product to be lined up right under. So I'm going to take off this filter when there is no product. So let's go back. We still have a main template open. I'm going to close that. All right. So okay, so now that we have that, the sidebar, okay, this is the sidebar. I'm going to apply a condition to it, okay, and that condition is that it should only show if the number of posts is greater than or equal to 1, okay. Alright, so that is the only condition. So if the number of posts is not greater than or equal to 1, it is not going to show. So that sidebar will not show. So we have added that now. So the next thing is we're going to duplicate this, okay. Now this one we're going to call it search results. Search results. Okay. Found. All right, and I'm gonna just open that, select this heading, and say, let's just call it result for. I'm just gonna call it search results. Okay. All right. That's what I'm gonna call it, and put it here, search results. Yeah, and we'll still have this return to shop. Okay, but this is gonna show only if the number of posts is greater than or equal to 1. All right, so I'm gonna save that, and then we'll go back, and then I'm gonna refresh this. All right, so no result found. You see the sidebar is gone. So if I change this to iPhone, okay, so you see this works. So if we have no results, it's going to tell us no result was found, and we don't have the sidebar, okay. But if we have results, it's going to tell us search results, and we're going to have this, and we're going to have the sidebar as well as this also. So that's how you set up your search result page. So we're going to return to shop, and let's see what we've done so far. So we've been able to add this, we've been able to add the search bar, we've been able to show, demonstrate that you can, have your product variation image show up, okay. And if we go to the cart, we've been able to customize the cart page, and also we go to checkout, we've been able to customize our checkout page. And then the next thing we're going to look at is how to edit this field. So I'm going to go back to the back end. I'm going to go to plugins, and then we have a plugin that we're going to install and activate, and then that plugin is called Checkout Field Editor. I've already installed it and activated mine, so it's called Checkout Field Editor. As you can see, I've already done that editing. So now once you install it and activate it, you go to WooCommerce and you go to Checkout Form, okay, and then from here you can start disabling. Now make sure before you delete anything you don't want, make sure that you go to Edit and disable it first, like turn off the enable and serve, and save it before you delete it, because you have the option, okay, you have the option to remove, okay, once you select. But then if you remove it without turning off required, you understand, if you remove it without turning off required, I think it's still going to ask you, that something is missing when you want to fill the form. So make sure that before you remove something, let's say you want to remove billing city, okay? So you want to delete it. So you go to edit, okay? First of all, turn this off, and then turn this off. Then save and close. When you save and close, it's not going to show up at the other side. For instance, look at all this billing company. We have disabled it. So if I select this, I can enable the billing company, okay? And then if I want it to be required, so we can edit this, you know. Let's look at this, okay? Billing address, enable the billing address, okay? So I guess if we save it, okay, let me just save changes. Okay, so now that I've saved the changes, I can edit it. So I can go to billing company and then make it required and save and close. Okay, so you see the 2 dots required is there. Now if you want to remove this, now if this was required by default, it is important that you go in and check this and save and close. Okay, don't just go in and delete. Okay, don't just go in and remove something that is required, because if you remove it, by the time the user wants to fill the form, even though it's no longer there in the form, it's still going to say something is missing. There's a field that needs to be filled. Okay, so that is very, very important. And then you can change the order. Okay, like I can move the email to the top. Okay, you can move the email to the top, move the phone, and then you can actually rename that field. Like I can go in here and I say I want to call it WhatsApp number, and then I'm gonna save and close, and then save here also. Okay, yep, did I save that? And then I'll go to the front end, go to the checkout, and then I'm gonna see what is here is gonna be WhatsApp number. Okay, so that is how to edit those fields, and that brings an end to this WooCommerce tutorial. With time, I'll probably be doing some short WooCommerce tip videos, depending on what comes up. But so far, we've been working on this WooCommerce from part 1 to part 3. We're using free tools. But I want to let you know that, you know, if you want to push, you know, your WooCommerce store to the max, you'll have to make some investments. You really have to make some investments, because there are some things you can do with these free tools. Okay, for instance, this is the website I worked on, and this website was, you know, it's done in Oxygen, and of course I have my quick view here, but I didn't use the free tool because now this enabled me to customize it the way I want. Okay, I had to build this out myself, put in everything I want. So that is the kind of freedom that, you know, a premium, you know, tool gives you. Okay, and then this is my cards, off canvas card. Now what I use for this is Oxy Ultimate Woo, you know, so you can check out Oxy Ultimate Woo. So if you check out the cards, it gives you the ability to build the card. Now when we were building our cards using the normal default Oxygen card, you just drop in something, you can't edit anything. But this one, it gives you the individual, you know, individual stuff to edit the card, like and then the checkout, it gives you the individual component, you know, to edit the checkout. So you see my checkout page, I can have my order items in the checkout page, you know, and then I can actually increase that in the checkout page, reduce or delete the quantity. So it gives me the freedom to really you know, customize this stuff the way I want. And if I were to be using a free tool to do that, I would probably need a lot of, you know, development, a lot of custom code to be able to achieve this. Okay, so that's it. I have the ability to, you have the pictures for our own. What we have here is we just have this. We don't have the pictures. Okay, we cannot even increase the, we can't even increase the quantity, you know, so everything just looks, but look at the difference, you know, between this and the card page. You know, look at what we have here in the card page. Even though I don't have my upsells and all that here, I have not set that up, but it just it's just really I think it's a really nice way to. Now you could argue that this looks finer, okay, because we have these upsells, but this gives you more freedom, okay. It's like I said, you have the freedom to build this the way you want, okay. So do invest in some premium tools. They are gonna help make your site better, okay. What happens in this quick view? You build it yourself, so you can do whatever you want. Look, I had to put something here, decide what information goes here, how the layout is, how the design is, so that's really one of the advantages of working with premium tools. And then another beautiful resource, very resourceful website is WP Dev Design, okay, by Sridhar. Okay, so there's a whole lot of custom stuff you can find here. You have tutorial. If you go to the tutorials, you see it has a lot of tutorials on WooCommerce. Okay, so if I go to it, the tag WooCommerce, okay, there are like 46, okay, and 11 free content. Then you have premium content. Now you have a lot of premium content. What you can do with WooCommerce. So these are premium content, but these are free content. So you just go check it out. You see a lot of stuff. There are a lot of solutions that are available here that that we don't have it out there. Like for instance, all the codes that I've given to you, I source them out there in the open. Where it is out there in the open in Stack Overflow and some other website blogs and all that. But if you come here, you're gonna see some some crazy stuff that you can do using some custom codes, if you're a member. But if you're not a member, you can check out the free stuff, okay. And then check out the free stuff here and implement it. That is it for WooCommerce. I hope you learned something in the course of this tutorial, and I'm happy that we are coming to a close. Kindly hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. I'm going to start another series. It's going to be design series, and in my next series I'm going to attempt to build the Editor X website with Oxygen Builder. Alright, so I am going to attempt to build this website with Oxygen Builder, okay. So let's just see how it goes. So you have this beautiful, nice, sticky, and then this comes hit here and move. We have all this grid, this, we have this, and then we have this section that stays there, and this other one scrolls, bars, nice layouts, beautiful layouts. So so this is gonna kick off our next design series. So we're gonna see how it goes. Hit the notification button, okay, so that you wouldn't miss anything. All right, so have a great day, and I'll see you some other time.